Okay, so welcome tonight. This Zoom I am so excited about because I've got so much to share with each and every one of you. I love being able to see real faces. So if you're in a position and you're not driving or something like that, please turn your face on. I know you don't have to look awesome. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about how you look or don't look or whatever. Just let me see your face if I can see it, because I think connection is so incredibly important. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Lori Conway. And if you are on the page Risen, I am one of your Ambassador Diamond upline. So I want to say welcome to this page. This page was like literally God spoke this page to me, and that I could talk to you probably for 8 hours on a Zoom about that alone. So we're not going to talk about all the details of that, but I am going to talk a little bit about it. So I want you to get out a pen and paper. I have just a couple of housekeeping things. I want to tell you that the page Risen itself is for diamonds and above. So that means you are on this page because you are a diamond and above. You're on the Zoom today because you're a diamond and above. And it is led by 21 ambassadors. Amanda's one of those, and she's going to be on this Zoom talking with me tonight. She's got a lot of great information to share, but you'll definitely want to keep your pen and paper out or take notes somehow, because you want to go back and be like, what did they say? I want to be able to do that. Okay, so make sure you do that. 21 ambassadors on this page, and they're here to help support you in your leadership. They're not here to do it for you. They're not here to necessarily give you things, but they're here to empower you to rise up. Now, I called it Risen because I'm speaking life into that. I already see all of you women and some men rising up. So we know that you have risen into your leadership position, and we are here to help you to help others rise up as well. Make sure your notifications are on this page. It might be busier some days than others. I also want you to feel free to post on this page. I'm going to give a shout out really quick to a couple people. Katie Moorhead did a live about her expos and the tips. If you haven't seen that, oh my gosh, it's so good. So make sure you do that. So shout out to her. I know she did it afraid, like we were just talking about, Heather. Sometimes you do things, you're like, I don't know how to do that, or I don't feel qualified to do that. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen, if you just do it afraid, you're gonna grow in so many areas of not just leadership, but personal development, and show your teams that they can do the very same thing. So shout out to Katie for that. If you haven't watched it, make sure you do that. She's talking about getting back to the basics and having fun with this business. Fun is what we want to do. We want to be able to earn money and have fun at the same time. Another shout out was Katie Drum. She did an amazing post this week. If she's on here, I'm not sure, but she did an amazing post this week. It had the dry erase board that said, I am VIP. That was like so inspirational to me, because I look at this and I think there's so many times that we don't speak life into what we're doing because we're disappointed or discouraged, or so-and-so quit on us, or maybe we're having personal problems ourselves. Maybe it's relational, maybe it's marriage, maybe it's problems with our kiddos, and we don't necessarily feel upbeat or inspired ourselves. But this lady is speaking life into herself, talking about what she's doing, and you will see on that whiteboard business and house or home. And I think it's really important that we have to kind of sectionalize, compartmentalize our lives in a sense of making sure that we're getting things in. Because I don't know about you, by a show of hands, who loves to feel accomplished? I do. And if I don't feel accomplished when I lay my head on my pillow at night, I feel kind of defeated. And what's funny, I'll tell you this little story. The other day, it's been several weeks ago, so we've been in school for a couple weeks now, but I said something to Quentin. I was so frustrated, and I was going to bed, and I was like, I just don't feel accomplished today. And he laughs at me, and I'm like, why are you laughing? He's like, do you have to feel accomplished every day? And I thought, okay, fair enough. Okay, so there may not be days where you feel accomplished, but our goal is to help you feel more accomplished than not, okay? And by doing that, it's setting up boundaries for yourselves and making sure that you're working towards goals, personal goals that you have for yourself. Another shout out to Chantel Lyons, made a post when we first put up the page for a welcome post. So if you haven't gone to that welcome post, make sure you go there. The welcome post is going to help you to get united with other people, maybe get up some accountability partners, tell us who you are, why you joined, like just a little segment of your story. And with that being said, the 21 ambassadors on this page also have a segment under our unit section of all our stories. So if you're wanting to know, like, who are these ambassadors and what are their stories, and how did they get where they are, there is a story for each and every one of us uploaded with a photo, so you can share those stories as well and share those with your team. One other thing I'll say, and then we'll kind of get into what we're talking about tonight, is you really get what you give. Okay, I believe that in everything in life. You get what you give. If you give love, you receive love. If you give hate, you're going to get hate back. If you give drama, you're going to get drama. If you give accountability, you're going to get that accountability back. If you give, whatever you give, you're going to get in return. So I want you to be encouraged at this page that you can give and pour in and give and give and give, because when you give, you're going to get that in return. And we've already seen that so far with this page being as young as it is. We've only been open for a few days, but I'm going to encourage each and every one of you that each and every one of you, I see faces right now, and I can scroll through here, have something different to offer. They may not be the same, but don't judge what you have to offer compared to somebody else's. That will definitely defeat you very, very quickly. So, you know, what Shannon may have to offer may not be what I have to offer, but she needs to be loud about that, because God gifted her with those unique and special gifts to be able to live out loud with those. So please don't dim yourself because you feel like, oh, well, I'm just a ... You're not just a ... You're an amazing person with God-given talents, and I want you to be super loud about that, because my goal is to not only orchestrate kind of well together, is to be able to create this community of men and women that rise up together to do amazing things, not only for It Works, but for this world. Okay, one more thing that I want you to write down very, very quickly is we are going to have this Zoom every Sunday night at 8 o'clock. We're just going to make it on the calendar weekly. And Amanda and I were talking about that just a little bit ago. So we just need to make sure that we're doing this weekly at 8 o'clock. It'll be right before the corporate call. There were a ton of things that you guys wanted to talk about. Clearly, we're not going to be able to talk about all those tonight, but I want you to tune back in each and every week to get a little bit of leadership fill up and have some kind of roundtable discussion each and every week. Those will be hosted not just by me, but separate ambassadors. I want everybody to feel like they have a voice. So come with suggestions and ideas each and every week. Okay, I'm going to start this out, and then we're going to give over to Amanda for a little bit. So we are rising together. And one thing, and I wrote a couple notes here, and I'm not a green personality at all, but I knew if I didn't get on here, we have a very section of time before we have to get on the corporate, before we get to get on the corporate call tonight. And I did not want that time to go by wasted. So I wanted to be super intentional tonight, but we are rising together. We are creating unity. I have been with this business for 7 years. I have done it together. I have done it alone. I have done it part alone. And I will tell you the very best way to do this business and do it well, not just do it, but do it well from all aspects of your life, is to do it together and build unity between sidelines, uplines, and downlines. So the antidote to brokenness. So if each and every one of you could say, I've been through this season of my business where I'm up and I'm down, okay? And I don't know how to get back up if I'm down. So that brokenness that maybe you're feeling, if you're feeling that at all, the antidote to that is fellowship, is community. And so we have created a page, us ambassadors have created a page to create unity and fellowship so you guys can bounce ideas off one another. And so that way you guys can find one another to be accountable for each other and find relationships to kind of pull you from the muck sometimes. So, togetherness is all about love, grace, and fellowship. We're not going to always do it right. So I'm just going to ask ahead of time. And it was kind of ironic that I did the welcome video for Risen with my Grace Wins shirt on, because I haven't done it right each and every time that I've stood up to say something for leadership, or I haven't done it right being a mom for 14 years each and every day. There are times, I'm just going to tell you ahead of time, I apologize. I am human. And if I screw up, I'm never going to try to own that and rise above it. But I am human, and I know that each and every one of us are human too. So there are going to be times that we're going to need to give each other grace. Okay? So give each other grace, love on each other. Let's do it well, and to build a fellowship together. And just know this, if you're in a position right now where you feel broken, you cannot heal yourself by yourself. God created us to be in community with one another. Okay? He built us and created us to be in community with one another, so that way in our brokenness we can be healed and helped by others. But we don't know how to do that for you, or other people don't know how to do that for you unless you're connected. If you've isolated yourself and you're back here trying to run things by yourself, which I've done before, it's only going to be a downward spiral for you in a lot of ways. So I'm going to encourage you to really lean into this. I know there's a season right now that we have some untrust going on. but you can full on trust me. I promise you, I guarantee it to you, and I know that I'm going to have to prove my trust to you, and I'm okay with that, okay? I'm completely 100% okay with that. But I want you to lean into one another and trust each other. Be vulnerable. Be authentic. Don't be fake. Be authentic. Let's build relationships that really mean something, that are not just surface level, that are not just fake, but they really go through the long haul of this. A really quick story, and there's an injured man on the side of the road. He had in a car accident, right? He's an injured man and he needs help. Do you think he can get him outside? Can he get himself outside of that situation? No. He's going to need help from an EMT. He's going to need help from a fellow person driving by. He's going to need help from somebody. So just look at yourself. If you're ever that injured person on the side of the road, ladies and gentlemen, you've got to open yourselves up to community, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to rise up to who God has created you to be. And there are going to be times where you feel like, I've given it all, you know, I've been beat down, I've been used, I've wasted my time on people, and now they've left my team. Let me just tell you, that's part of the game, okay? And you're going to have to put yourself back out there, and you're going to have to do it again, and you're going to have to roll the dice, and you're going to hope and pray that this time it's going to stick. But God doesn't bring you through a season for no reason. He does not. He is going to bring you through that season even a better person, but he's going to call you to community during that season, no matter what season you're in. If you're in the down the dump season and you're on the mountaintop season, he's called us together to help one another. And so I want you to feel like this is a safe place for you for leadership. This is not a place to complain. I will tell you that. I hate that. That's like cancer to me. This is not a place to complain. This is a place to, you know, maybe if you're having a bad day, okay, fine. Let us know how we can help you in that, okay? This is not a place to drag people down. This is a place to raise people up. And you could be beat up again tomorrow when you put yourself back out there, but you'll never know how to do this and do it well until you learn to keep doing it. I know it's that feeling your way forward, and that's so true in so many ways, you guys. In relationships, in friendships, in community, in business, and everything that you do, you're going to feel like you've kind of hit that ceiling, or you're going to feel like, oh my gosh, like they did that to me, I'm going to block myself off from that. Or like the Facebook world, I'm just going to block them. Okay, blocking somebody does nothing to this, nothing to your heart on the inside. So let's really work from the inside to make sure that we are walking in the calling that God has created us to be, and making sure that we are giving grace. Yes, we set up boundaries for us in our business, absolutely, but love wins all the time. Grace wins all the time. You don't have to be catty. You don't have to be gossipy. You don't have to be drama-y, whatever that word is. You just have to love on people and rise up and be different. Okay, one more little story, and then Amanda, you're coming in, okay? I heard this story, and I can't remember who to give it credit to. So if you're like, I heard that too, and so-and-so said that, then by all means, this is not Lori Conway's story. Okay, so Persian horses. They're like one of the strongest horses that pull things, okay? They say that they can pull up to 8,000 pounds alone. One horse can pull up to 8,000 pounds alone. But when they're together, they can pull 20,000 pounds. Just two of them together can pull more than double the amount of one. So 8,000 pounds for one Persian horse. When you put them together, just two, they can pull 20,000 pounds. But here's the amazing part. If they actually know each other and they're in community with one another, we're talking about those are two strangers pulling 20,000 pounds. If they actually know each other and they're in community with one another and they're united, they can pull up to 50,000 pounds. Do you know that? Do you hear what I'm saying? We are so much better together. We're so much better together. When you're alone, yeah, I can do it alone. Lori Conway's done it by herself. I can do it. I can go this. I can get a diamond. I can build this by myself. I don't need anybody else. And I can get there because I can pull 8,000 pounds. But Amanda and I can do it together. And you know, we can really make mountains move. Now look at all of us together. You think about this. All of us together, when we build a community of women and men that are like-minded, that are on mission, and I don't care about, I mean, I do care about charts and all that, but it's bigger than that. It's so much bigger than that. We can move mountains together. God is wanting to shine, and he's wanting to show off, and he's ready for you to say yes, to show up so he can show off. He is the best God ever because he's a gentleman, and he's waiting on you, Erica, Tamara, Sonia, Tina, Yolanda. He's waiting for you because he's not going to pressure you to do things that you're not ready to do. He is waiting for you. And I'm telling you guys, this is the time. I feel it in my bones. I feel it in my heart. I feel it with everything about me. And right now, you can do it alone, and you can probably do good. But when we can do it all together, you guys, we're going to do so much better together if we just stick together and build a community of women and men that really want to rise up to do amazing things, not just with It Works, but as a whole, as a generation, as whatever you want to call it. Yes, our vehicle is It Works. It absolutely is, and that is my vehicle of choice and my vehicle that I will stay in. It's the vehicle that I had all my car seats in. It's the vehicle now that I have my teenagers in. I am here to stay. This is my vehicle of choice. This is the vehicle that God has for me. And I know that each and every one of you are in this vehicle with me. If you jumped on tonight, you're interested in being in this vehicle with me. I'm asking you to link arms with somebody on this Zoom, somebody on Risen, and go to the top together. Do this together because you can't do it well alone, okay? So that is my preaching moment on unity and community. This is the time. Thank you, Amber. This is the time. Stop wasting your time. Stop going half in and saying, I gave it my all. You have not. You haven't. There's always a piece missing somewhere. Be open. Keep your mind open to coaching. You haven't arrived. Keep your mind open to new possibilities, new ideas. Because there are things now, which Amanda's going to talk about 7 years ago that I did then that are not working now, that I've had to reinvent myself a little bit, and become a better version of me so that I can do bigger and better things. Amanda, I'm gonna put it over on you, girl, because you're going to talk about that exactly, about kind of reinventing yourself.
Yes. I don't really know how to follow a Lori preaching moment. Thank you so much. And I know a lot of you guys don't know me, but December will be 5 years, which is crazy. And wow, a lot's happened in that short amount of time. When you think about it, I want to say, oh my gosh, 5 years, that's so long. But in this industry, this is our career. Like, that's just like a tiny little moment. So I read through a lot of the questions, and Lori and I talked, and we're going to get into kind of now talking about the things that you guys wanted to talk about. A lot of you guys asked about, how do I bring back the momentum? How do I become a better leader? How do I get up to the next rank? I want to rank up. I don't want to be stuck in the same place that I'm in. And there was just kind of a theme of that. So the number one thing I've been spending today thinking back over my journey, if you don't know my story, I went ambassador in 13 months, which at the time I didn't know that was fast. That was just me staying in my lane. And that is what I want to share with you guys. We've got to get back to that newbie ignorance on fire. Like that, there is something to be said. Like, honestly, you guys, the month I went ambassador, I think like 13 or something of us promoted to ambassador that month. And I didn't know any of them. And when I got added to the ambassador page, I couldn't even have named more than 5 ambassadors. Lori was one of them that I could name, but we just didn't look left and right. So the one thing that I would ask you, if you are wanting to bring back the momentum, wanting to move up to the next rank, are you being the runner or the rock star distributor that you keep praying for? Like, are you doing that? Because when I look back, that's how I had the momentum on my team. And I don't care if you're red or yellow or blue or green. I wanted to be every month the highest enroller distributors and customers. Now, I'm not a strong customer signer. I never have been, but I still wanted to know how to do it and to be doing it, even if it was 2 or 3 customers a month. I wanted to be involved on the team page. And it wasn't because I wanted to answer every question and have the power. I wanted my team to see, I see you, I'm here for you, we're doing this together. And that's how I learned. I was added to a Kim's team page when I was brand new. And I tried to answer every question that people asked, even though I was new, because I knew by me searching for those answers, I was going to learn and educate myself. So it's just like Quentin's video. It's all about duplication. So if you are praying to promote to double or promote to triple, but you're not enrolling anyone. You're just over here like, oh my gosh, my team's not doing, like, think about that for a minute, you know, like how in the world are you going to get to the next rank if you're not helping to do so? So that's my number one thing. And now here's the big thing. Many of us, I know many of you here on my team, we've been in for a long time. Okay. A year, 2, 3, 4, 5, some of you guys 6 and 7 years. So what I did almost 5 years ago, I will tell you guys that I could not sign up today and get to ambassador the exact same way that I did that 5 years ago. I couldn't, because technology has changed. I would say it's safe to say here in the United States, our culture has changed as far as, I mean, my goodness, you wait longer than 3 minutes in the drive-thru. You're like, oh my gosh, I've been here all day, right? I mean, it's just people, that sense of the Amazon, you know, I want it, oh, it's going to take more than 2 days to come to my house. Forget it. I don't want it. So a lot of things have changed. So you have got to be willing to change. And I will tell you, this is a what do we call a family, a free open space for the last, like the first 6 months of this year, maybe 5 months. I was not willing to change, and I was not willing to do stories, and I didn't want to do this, and I didn't want to do, and I don't, you know, I'm too old for whatever these filters and all of this stuff. I didn't want to learn any of it. And you know what? My enrollments showed that I was not willing to learn. So you've got to be the distributor that you keep hoping to sign, and you've got to be willing to learn. I'll be honest with you guys. Where are my fellow Reds? This Connect app, the first day I looked into it, I'm like, what in the world? I couldn't get it to work. I'm like, forget it. It doesn't work. Mine must be broken. I don't know how to import these contacts. And I was like, I'm not using it. Forget it. I'm just not even going to do it. But that is not the right attitude to have. It's actually a really stinking awesome app, okay? There's also, I would say this, I don't know how much of this Lori wants me to cover right this moment, but
yeah.
Okay. I want you guys to think back to when you were on that month that you promoted to whatever rank you are right now, okay? Like that promotion month, whether it was your diamond month, your triple, presidential, because that month, I assure you, you probably remember very vividly, right? You had no clean laundry, your dishes were a mess, all of that. But think back to that. And I also want you to think about your season of life at that moment. Yes. I had, the month I went ambassador, I had a 22-day-old newborn and a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. So my entire journey, I had babies, okay? I mean, a 3-year-old and under, or maybe 2 and under, I had babies. And so when I was first promoting, I could turn on Mickey Mouse Clubhouse for my 2-year-old and my 8-month-old, and we were good. And I could work, solid work, as many hours of a day I wanted to. As long as I fed them and changed their diapers, I was good. So you've got to give yourself a little bit of grace if you are not able to work your business the exact same way today that you did back then. Because I spent a lot of 2017 being very hard on myself. Like, oh my gosh, I don't understand. I used to work so much harder. But now I've got a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 7-year-old. We've got Cub Scouts and ballet and cheerleading and 2 different schools. And we're homeschooling one of those 3 right now. So life looks a heck of a lot different today than it did 4 months in when I went triple and just could sit on my phone all day. So we've got to remember that. We've got to remember to give ourselves grace. And something I have learned is we've got to be more intentional with our time, because I will be completely honest. I don't know if it's my type of personality, but I worked 25 hours a day, some of that first 13 months. Okay. And there's a time and place for that. When it's a promotion month, okay, there's no rules, right? We just work. But you can't do that for 5 years. And I have burned myself out. I have had days where I'm like, I quit. Okay, I've had a lot of those days. I don't know if Kim's on here, but she'll be like, oh, you've had more than one of those days. If you haven't, you're not normal. But we've got to figure out a way. And that's something else that I'm so thankful for this group. That's why I asked the other day, what are your daily non-negotiables? We've got to learn to be more intentional with our time and have things that we do daily. And I know my team knows I've got checklists that I have made for myself. That checklists are not my most favorite thing, but you know what? If I don't do my Monday checklist, then on Tuesday I need to work a little bit harder than I did on Monday. And then there's some days that my entire job that day is just to feed my kids and make sure that I keep them all alive. And you have to be okay with that. You have to get over the guilt, the mom guilt, the I didn't work my business today guilt, all of that. And that's something that we're going to work through together as a team, because I do feel like the longer you're in this, the more those guilts and all these things start to come up. And if you don't correct it, you don't get yourself in the right place, it's very, very easy to start looking left and right and letting all the negativity take over. All right. Now, this last thing is you need to reinvent the way you think about things. And I know Jackie Wilson's on here, and she doesn't know it. She's very yellow and she's probably dying right now. Well, she's mostly green, but she has completely done a 180 with her business this year, strictly because of her mindset and her daily self-development. So she has helped me a lot. So she's going to be helping all of us learn more about that. She just doesn't know it yet. But I have spent a lot of time, maybe some of you guys have. Lori mentioned this. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe I wasted 2 years on this diamond and she quit. She didn't renew her account. Oh my gosh, I've wasted this time. Oh, I can't believe that newbie only lasted 2 months. I gave her a customer. You got to stop thinking like that, because at that moment, that person who was diamond, I needed that person diamond for me to go triple. And there was a time and place. And just like I say in my life, there's a reason and a season that there are people in your lives. That's the same thing that goes true for your business. So you've got to, some people are not meant to be in your business forever. They are meant to be in your business for a season and for the month that you go triple. And after that, you wish them well. And, there are people on my team that maintain diamond, double, even triple, and don't even work their business. And you can't hold grudges about that. You just have to say, hey, that's how this business works. And you're here to bless people, and what they choose to do with their business, that's not on you. So that is a very hard lesson that I have had to learn over the years. And so I feel like it's my job to help prevent you guys from going through that. And you can't let it get in your way, because you've got to remember, you're not building someone to diamond, you're building yourself to the next rank. We have to be honest with ourselves in terms of business, because a lot of you guys asked about charting. And another thing is, I have learned that you're going to have to adapt to different people. Okay. So I don't like to have regrets in my life and my business, but I have a few. And I think that if we talk more about the things that we wish we had done differently, that maybe it can help all of us. So for me, one thing that I would do way differently, I'm speaking to my fellow Reds, is I had a very much well, if I don't hear from you, I'm not reaching out to you. I'm running with or without you to the top, right? And I think Jesus has jokes, and I mostly sign yellows. Like literally, if I look at my history, I only sign yellows. Okay. And it's because we need each other. But in the beginning, if I could go back, and some of you guys are going to need to take the time to send out these messages to people. I would message my newbies for their first 30 days. And then after that, it was like, peace. If I don't hear from you, then I guess you didn't want it. When the reality is, we have to remember that most people that come into this business have worked for a boss their entire life, or their entire young life if they're in their 20s. Before this, I never owned a business, but I have a very much a go-getter personality. I'm going to figure it out. But you're going to sign people they just don't know how to do that. They need you to say, hey, here's a checklist, go do all these things. Or how many of you have the people, hey, are there any more power hours this week? Is anybody going to host a power hour? And I'm like, for the love, we have hosted the same ones for the last 3 weeks. Just put them in a notes app, set a timer, and do it yourself. But we have to remember, some people just like to be told what to do. And you have to learn how to adapt your personality and be okay with that. So those are things that I have learned. Something I would change. I was not very kind to some people my first year, because it was very much I'm going, let's go. And I probably left a lot of people behind who maybe aren't even in the business anymore. So over the years, I have had to send a lot of, hey, I'm really sorry. I really wasn't the best leader, but I was learning. I never did anything like this before. And you know what? I've re-signed a lot of those people along the way. So some of you guys need to do go back and damage control. And last thing that I wanted to talk about, and Lori can jump in and I'll come back to this if you want, is a lot of you guys asked about, how do I rebuild? I don't know what to do. I'm sitting at double. I'm looking at E-Suite and I'm Emerald, and how do I get out of that? Well, I already talked to you about the first part. You got to start enrolling distributors. Bottom line, we are paid to do two things: sign distributors and sign customers. That's it. And I will tell you guys, all the way to ambassador, I very rarely signed 4 customers a month. I'm just going to be honest. That was not my mindset. I was a distributor enroller, and I probably enrolled 8 to 12 a month that first year. But I could teach you how to sign customers. So if you're like, well, I'm not good at customers, I'm here to tell you it's okay. I just wanted to throw that in there. So I want you to take away the word rebuilding. You need to just erase that, because you're not rebuilding anything, because our business, we are always building. It's what we're paid to do. Charting, even when you get to ambassador, guess what? Even before 2.0, we're always charting. So take away rebuilding. You're always building. And I will let you guys know because now you're my family. I am very red, but I'm also very green. I can talk to you about comp plans, generation bonuses, all that all day long. And I love charting, which I can't tell too many people that. But here is what I would say to you if you were mine. So Lori might have a different opinion on this, but if you are a double and you've been in for 3 years and you're like, okay, Amanda, I'm Emerald, I'm ready to go. What do I need to do? This is what I would have you do. This is where I'm going to get into a little bit of logistics. Is you need to have eSuite open and you need to have 2 tabs, okay? You need to have one open to your tree viewer. You need to have one open to your volume total by distributor report, okay? So over in tree viewer, this is where you need to look up people's ID numbers, okay? And let's say you've got an Ashley and she was in a 400 box. You're going to copy and paste her ID number over here into the volume total by distributor. Change the drop down box to whatever the prior month was. So last month was August. If Ashley has been in this business for longer than 2 months and she has no volume, she's not working, 0 everything, I'm going to say we need to replace Ashley's box. And I know that that's not everyone's school of thought. This is not for a new distributor, okay? This is somebody trying to get back to where you were. This is what my stacking and rebuilding method. So we're going to replace that box. But let's say that Ashley's box had 100 BV in it. Cool, we're gonna leave Ashley's name there and we're going to try to stack a new distributor under that. So while you're doing this, remember, once you hit Ruby now even, but you guys are diamonds and up, you can still get back to your rank by overall volume. So that's gonna happen naturally as you're rebuilding chart-wise. So that's what I'm having my team do. So maybe I've got a diamond on here and last month she maintained Ruby. I don't want you to think that pulling out an emerald chart is a step backwards, because it's not, because this is a reality. You know, some of us have been in that valley, but this is what this group is for. We are all rising back up together. So pull out an emerald chart and we're going to do that method. We're going to put people, we're not going to put people in a ruby spot that have no volume and are not working. Now, if you're listening and you're like, whoa, I don't want to do all of that, that's wasting people. If you're brand new, this is why brand new people are not watching this. But if someone's brand new, I'm going to train them how I was trained. You fill the dang boxes, top to bottom, left to right. You stick their names in a box and you promote as fast as you can. So there is a different school of thought for new people. I'm talking about rebuilding. Let's get you back. And you know what? While you're rebuilding something, you're going to have someone pop up. And just like I know Kim has shared before, Kim was building a leg for a double diamond leg for her ambassador. And here it comes little old Amanda. She sticks me 4 levels deep in someone's emerald chart. And all of a sudden, this Amanda girl signed 17 distributors her first month. So boom, Kim no longer had to build a double diamond leg because I went double my second month. So you're going to have those people, I'm speaking that over all of you, just pop up. Yes. And you're not going to have to work on that leg anymore. So I know that was very quick and we can repeat, but I know we're on a time schedule. But I know several of you asked about doing that, and I know I wanted to get y'all onto that this week just so that you can start filling those people. So, all right.
All right, Amanda. I love all that. I love all that, the rebuilding and taking that terminology kind of away, because we were building each and every month anyway. So just look at it as a step to success. And I think I would ditto everything that Amanda just said. And if you're confused by that, or you're a blue and a red like me, I'm a true blue, but when it comes to business, I'm totally a red. I want to be able to show people how to make money and make it quick. And if I'm not making money with something, I'm out, you know? And so I know people are in this business to make money, not to spend it. We need to be making money and showing that we're making money. And so my advice to you on that would be pull out a dang Ruby chart and fill it out. Your steps to success is printed each and every month. Hold yourself accountable to completing the steps to success. And if you sign 3 distributors, you help one of them sign 2, and you've got yourself a brand new Ruby. If you commit yourself to do that each and every month, your business will quote unquote rebuild itself, because you're building new and you're bringing in new. And when you give birth to new, exciting things happen. Amanda, what you said is so perfect, because that's exactly what I did. I never really put words to it. But when I was going ambassador, I was running a gun, and I did it in 14 months with 4 kids, 5 years and under. Life was crazy. It looks a lot differently today, and it's still crazy. It's actually crazier. It's just different kind of crazy. I didn't focus on customers. I focused only on distributors, because I knew if I could get distributors in, the customers would come. I knew it. I could go get customers. I could teach people to go get their 4 in 72 hours. I could teach people to go get their 4 by asking a favor just to start their business out, not to grow it that way long term, but just to start as a favor. Hey, let's go do this. Let's get your free product. I could teach people how to get their customers super easy, okay, if I stayed on them and I really not just recruited them, but sponsored them and helped them launch. Helped them, we didn't have a lot of online events then, but helped them to do an online event or an in-person party. It was a no-brainer for me to help them to get their customers. But my focus was distributors and distributors only, because I knew distributors would ultimately bring those loyal customers. So that's a great reminder to all of us. So make sure you're putting out those steps to success each and every month, even as a leader. I know it seems kind of corny, 7 years that I've written it off the first part of every month. But really, guys, we've got to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that we're pushing for those goals, personal goals, and setting those goals to be very, very specific. Okay, one thing that I want to touch on, and then we'll close out here because I don't want to miss the call tonight, but is spousal support. I know somebody had asked, and I can't remember exactly who it was, but asked about getting your husband on board, okay? Here's the thing I think most of us would say. I think most of us would say that our spouses were not on board when we first got started. Here's the thing. When God speaks something to you, he asked you to bring it into fruition, not your spouse. And he didn't ask you to do something only if your spouse says, okay, you should do that, or I'm on your side, or I got your back. Because the reality is, your heart's cry, your heart's desire, the closest person in your life, your mom, your spouse, your loved ones, your children, they may want it for you, but they don't want it for you like you want it for yourself. Does that make sense? It doesn't resonate the same. So if I have a heart's desire or passion to go to the moon, right? Quentin's going to be like, all right, well, whatever. Even if he was full on supportive, like, hey, let's find a way for you to get there, Lori. But he doesn't feel the burning desire that I have. Does that make sense? So I think you have to set yourself up for the right expectation. What kind of spousal support are you really looking for? And I think that when you enter into this business, I know there's a lot of couples working this business now, but they probably didn't start that way, okay? And so you have to give your husband grace. You have to give your wife grace if you're a man that started this business without his wife. You have to give them grace and never push this business on them. Put yourself in their shoes, okay? And what I say by that is, like, I never forced my husband to wear an It Works shirt. I never forced him to talk about anything It Works. In fact, our conversations, I try to make them not about It Works. I wanted to build, it's almost like you're treating them like a potential. You want to build that curiosity to where they're asking questions for you. So in other words, here's an example. If I wanted Quentin on board, in the very beginning, he was not. He was not happy that I was doing this. Now he sings the praises. He's like, dang, like, I am so glad to be so wrong and, like such an idiot in that regard. But he was supportive as a husband. He didn't necessarily like the idea of this business. And why? Because let's just face it, I see Adam right there with Amanda, which I think is the sweetest thing ever. And you guys can speak on this too, but there are 3 things that men really want. I've been married for 19 years. There are 3 things, okay? That is food. They're hungry all the time. I can speak that for my 14-year-old boy. Sex, let's just get real, and money. Okay, those are kind of the things that are going through their mind. Okay, it could be a little bit different for other men, but you get the gist here. If you're not feeding him, if you're not loving on him, and you're not bringing in the money, he ain't interested. So let's get our mind wired right and make sure that we are taking care of our spouses, that this business is not becoming an idol over our marriage, and make sure that we are putting our dang phones down when we need to and set boundaries with your family. I have a big planner over here. In my planner, I have things that I've written down in pen that are non-negotiables in my personal life. I have things that I've written down in pencil that I can erase and move around. The real idea here is not that your husband or your wife is not supportive. They just don't feel like they're important to you. okay? Because you put everything else above them. You're not going to bed with them. We're not waking up together. You're always on your phone. You're always making last minute changes to our family. You've got to set some boundaries. If you want your husband to be on board, you have got to make sure that you're loving him right, you're feeding him, and you are bringing in the money. And what I mean by that, ladies, I can speak from you here. Let me see if we can mute everybody. Okay, ladies. Quentin used to be so mad that I'd have to grab him by the shoulders and say, babe, trust me, this is my 30, 60, 90-day goal. I'm going to give us a $500 pay raise this month. Trust me, I'm going to do it. But you know what I did? I did it. I committed to him, but I went and I did it. Men don't want you to talk about it all day and do nothing. You know, the Show Me the Money call used to be like, more action, less talk, whatever that Elvis song was, right? That's the truth. So if you're whining about not being able to grow your business or so-and-so quit or blah, blah, you know, the drama that we bring, right? That's just us sometimes as women, the emotions, and that's good. But we have to make sure that we're not communicating that to our spouses, because do you think that they're going to feel good about your business? It's kind of like, you know, you've got a good friend in high school and, you know, you can talk honestly about your own mom because you love her to death, and you can say you've had a bad day with her and dog her a little bit, but the moment your best friend, and she's your best friend, but the moment your best friend does that, you're like wanting to claw her insides out. You don't talk about my mom that way. Okay, we got to be protective. We've got to be protective of our marriages. We've got to be protective of our family time. We've got to be protective of those things that are golden to us. So you have got to show your husband, if he's not supportive, that this business isn't everything, okay? That it is up there, and you do have goals and desires with this business, but ultimately that family does come first, and that relationship comes first, because if he doesn't, it's always going to be a struggle, you all. It's always going to be a struggle. So stop working your business bipolar, emotional craziness, emotionally Emily, whatever you want to call it. And instead of doing that, set tangible goals for yourself. Don't say I'm going to go ambassador by the end of the year if you're, you know, an emerald right now. I mean, I'm not going to stop you. If you want to do it, go for it. But the reality is, let's set realistic goals. My realistic goal that I knew that I could achieve, I never said I'm going to be ambassador. Never said that. Never said I'm going to be diamond. I just grabbed by the shoulder and said, I'm going to give us a $500 pay raise this month. And by doing that, a $500 pay raise each and every month, built a ruby each and every month. And as I built a ruby each and every month, that got emerald, that became diamond, that became double diamond. Do you see that? And if I taught my team to do the very same thing, that's like the compound effect. So if you want your spouse's support, you got to make time for each other. And you got to be bringing them that money, because they like to see that money. And you have to take that money and go do something for yourselves. Do something as a couple. Don't just pour it into your kids. I mean, your kids are great, but honestly, without your marriage, your kids don't have anything. That's just, I'm on my soapbox right now with that. But you've got to make sure that you're protecting that, and you've got to make sure that you're giving that, you know, that $25 wrap cash or that keto cash, that you're saving it and you're hoarding it like I did, so I could bring the love of my life to Olive Garden and pay cash, okay? I know it sounds crazy, but it meant everything to me, everything. So protect that, just like you would protect your mama, okay? Just like you protect your kids. Make sure that's a priority, because if that's not a priority, then this business will never be a priority to him, okay? And take it seriously. If you're going to set goals, crush them. Go do them. And not that there's not grace in between if you don't make it, but you guys, how many times have we set goals just to set a goal, not to really go achieve it, just because we felt like we had to? And they were constantly like in regret mode of like, oh gosh, I told him that and I didn't really mean it, and I haven't really done anything today, and now he's going to go home and I'm going to be all frantic getting on the Zoom and doing all this stuff to make it look like I'm working. Well, that doesn't pay off. That does not pay off. And I'll tell you what my guitar teacher told my son. He said, I would rather you practice 15 minutes a day than 8 hours on a Saturday. Same with this business. If you have 15 minutes to give each and every day, that goes so much more in length and for success than 1 day a week. So do a little bit every day and give yourself grace along the way, like Amanda said. Today is a day that you are just going to survive, and feed your kids, then don't have any guilt about that. Just pick it up tomorrow and stay as consistent as you can be. Would you say that, I'm going to put you on the spot here, and I know we don't have much time, but Amanda and Adam, do you say that's pretty legit, the truth? You've been in for a while.
Yeah, 3 years, a little over 3 years, but I've always brought in the money. I do what I say I'm going to do. And if it's not working, I figure out a new way to do it. Adam's always been supportive because I've always done the things that I say I'm going to do.
Love that.
I'm not one of these, women that sets a goal and dreams about it and doesn't take action.
Yeah, 100%. And from the beginning, I've supported her. I was fortunate to have been around network marketing just in my family. And so I knew it was legit. I knew it was awesome. And I knew that she could do it. And I think I always envisioned her as doing something great. So when she found this, I was like, baby, this is an opportunity for you to really get into your strengths and do something really amazing. And so, there are sometimes she feels guilty about working, and she addresses that to me. She's like, I feel like I'm at night, we have our time together, but I'm like, baby, you're doing your thing, and it makes me happy to see you in your element helping these women. So we get our time, but do what you got to do.
So let me ask you this, Adam. I know there are women they're like, oh, I wish I had him as a husband.
I told him that today.
I know there are people thinking that right now. So if there's a woman on here that you can speak to directly of a husband that says, this is awful. Like, why are you still doing this? And that is not supportive, does not see the vision. What would you say to that person?
I'd say, honestly, exactly what you said. You go show them. I mean, men are going to be the most skeptical. We're just, I don't know what it is. I mean, I was skeptical at first till she put the wrap on, and then I was like, holy cow, you're onto something here. So for us, it's just like, you got to show us. I mean, we used to be dreamers when we were boys, and the older we get, that kind of gets sucked out of us in corporate America. That dream, unfortunately, we get so practical and we get so guarded in our hearts that we're naturally going to be super skeptical about anything that sounds too good. And so, but if you go out there and you show them, they got nothing to say. When she hit diamond and I saw that check, I was like,
they always
I got nothing.
I
got nothing.
Right? And that's so true. But yeah, thanks, Adam, for that, because I really think, Amanda, you nailed it with I don't give broken promises. I go do what I say I'm going to do. And I think we're so guilty of that, and just our high emotions of we're going to do this. And we're so frantic. We're going to do this, and I'm going to go faster. I'm going to do blah, 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 blah. Put yourself on a simple goal plan, a very specific goal plan that you can sit and look at your husband in the eye and say, this is my plan. This is what I'm going to do. And this is the things that I need from you. And you know what? If he's not willing to give anything, then you got to find a way. Where there's a will, there's always a way. There's always a way. Always. Okay. Do you want to say anything else, Amanda?
Well, I'll just say when I was promoting, I was basically a single mom because Michael worked 24-hour shifts. And then a lot of times he was gone for 48 hours. He was firefighting, and he took those overtime calls anytime they came. So while he was always supportive, we did not do it together per se because he was gone and I was home. And so he talks to a lot of the spouses, and his biggest thing that he always says is they don't have to ever want to be part of this. You have to remember for some people, this is your job and they have their job, and you've got to just communicate. They married you for a reason, you're partners. And so they need to understand that this is important to you. And it's not just some little hobby. You're not just playing a game on your phone. You have to explain to them. They literally have no idea what you're doing on your phone. Most of them, they don't know what stories are. They don't know you're messaging people. They think you're playing Candy Crush, or I don't even know what the cool game is these days. But Michael's thing to me was always, how can I help you? And it wasn't business related. So for me, it was, okay, you're going to be gone 24 or 48 hours. I need help with the laundry and I need help with the dishes. So when you come home, it's going to be a mess. And so he was like, okay, I can help with that. So it wasn't that he was helping with the business. And so I think there's an expectation of, oh, when I get to Diamond or when I have a comma, my husband's going to help me host man calls and work power hours. And that's not always the case. So you've got to remember at the end of the day, you're husband and wife, and you are husband and wife for a reason. So you've just got to communicate. You can't just get angry that they're mad at you for being on the phone when they don't know what you're doing on the phone. So that was something, even though he did know what I was doing, that did not mean it was pretty all the time. Just like Lori and Quentin, it was not always pretty. And there were times where I'm like, but it's end of month. And, you know, so I'm not saying it's going to be sunshine and roses, but I did have one more. No, never.
You're always that way anyway, right? Relationships aren't always that way either.
No, but I had one more note that I wanted to write before we wrap up. And when Periscope was cool, do you guys remember that? That was like a thing. Okay, so I'll never forget, we had just moved into this house, so it was like 2 years ago. I was watching Lori on a Periscope one day, and I'm unpacking boxes, and she said, if you're not in eSuite every day, you are not serious about your business. And I was like, oh, it was one of those like mic drop, oh snap, she's talking to me, because I had gone ambassador earlier that year. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I'm not charting anymore. I'm not looking at eSuite every day. I thought I was all entitled because I was a leader now. I don't need to be checking volume and adding up volume. But the reality is that's our business. So I encourage you. I know that I have some diamonds on here that if I were to ask you right now to send me a picture of the chart that you're working on this month for yourself, you wouldn't be able to. You'd be like, oh, Amanda's going to message me right now. I'm going to write something down. But you've got to have a chart right now. And you know what, you guys, like, this is what most of Amanda's charts look like right now. Okay. I'm not even going to, they look just like this. Okay. You can draw it on scrap paper. You don't have to have some fancy space. This is literally how I chart like 90% of the time. So if you don't have a goal right now,
yes,
for this month of September, for yourself, with your name at the top of the chart, I don't care that you're charting Susie Sunshine to Ruby, you need your chart. Because if you don't have a goal, this is your roadmap. I mean, if y'all don't have Siri or Alexa or whoever is telling you how to get somewhere, I'd be willing to bet that most of y'all would be lost, because I sure would, and I've lived here my whole life. So without this, you're not going to go anywhere. So get in eSuite every day, in the words of Lori, or you are not serious about your business.
Well, it's the truth, and I appreciate that. I'm glad that you remember that, and I got to get back to that myself, because I think we go through seasons where we're like, oh, I'm good. I don't have a chart. It kind of feels good. We should, if you don't have a chart that you're physically working for yourself, then you should be grabbing a new person's chart and saying, how can I help you? How can I help you to go executive? How can I help you go Ruby? Because Ruby is, yes, that's a goal, but sometimes executive is still a challenge for people. So don't skip that first step to get executive, because if you're teaching people to do that well, they're going to teach other people to do that well. And executives build rubies and emeralds and diamonds and beyond. So don't skip that at all. Okay, so I'm going to say this and we're going to come off, but I wrote this down. And I have to say it, unity does not happen passively. It only happens actively. So if you want to become part of a community, if you want to become part of something, you can't just sit back and wait for someone to come to you, because they're going to pass you by, okay? You have to get out there and you have to do things that make you afraid, that make you scared, that make you uncomfortable, that make you feel like, oh, maybe I'm not quite good enough to be your friend. I know that sounds silly, but it's true, because sometimes we'll be scrolling through and be like, oh gosh, can't never be part of that tribe. They're too good for me. Their lipstick looks too good. Oh my gosh, they have eyelashes. Oh my gosh, I'm always in my, stop the noise right now. You are part of this tribe regardless of what you look like, what your rank is right now. I will say you have to be positive. So you have to look at that glass half full. I say that as a qualifier for sure. But regardless of anything, it's kind of like this. I told my kids earlier, God loves you regardless of what you look like right now, what you've accomplished yesterday, what you're accomplishing now, or if you'll never accomplish anything ever again. God still accepts you who you are. So you are accepted here into Risen just the way you are. But we have hopes and prayers for you that your life is going to look more abundant in the months to come. And you get what you give. So pour in, because when you pour in, you're going to overflow with greatness. I promise you, you will refresh others and you'll be refreshed yourself. So, hey, jump on the Sunday night call. We so appreciate it for jumping on tonight. Amanda, we're doing this again. I don't know if it's me and you or another ambassador, but we're going to jump on next Sunday at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time, 9 o'clock your time, Amanda. And now you have to figure out your time zones where you're at. But I want you to jump back on next Sunday. We'll be here. Love you guys. Jump on the side. See you guys. Bye.